has a new temporary home and it's right over here. Let's go take a look. That's right, we're indoors, out of the weather, and we're going to make her weather tight so that when we go back in the weather in a week, she doesn't flood again. I continue to find little reminders of who used to live in the boat. Yesterday I had a friend come in and help me with some work, so I didn't do a lot of filming of what we did because I didn't want to waste her time filming mediocre YouTube material. But I wanted to show you what we did. These stanchions are inboard of the Genoa track, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Also, the lifeline that was here was in very poor shape, and this knee-high lifeline is more likely than not to trip you up. There's not a lot of room here to walk anyway, so we removed them. We also made this. It's a little round bit of fiberglass that I'll be using to repair a hole in the cabin top. And here is that hole. Here is that fiberglass round that we made last night. I cut it to fit and it's inside the hole now. I'll show you the outside. Got it connected to the stern rail with a bit of line. And it's in here. And I filled the edges with some thickened epoxy. When that's cured, I'll add some fiberglass reinforced thickened epoxy to bring it level. And maybe I might add a few sheets of fiberglass to make it look okay, but it's never going to look okay until it's like painted and sanded and all that stuff. But at least I'm on the way to having this massive hole out of my boat. There are 3 through deck holes for the standing rigging here, here, and here on either side, and they're the holes through which the standing rigging goes. So what I'm going to do is drill an oversized hole with a big bit, drill an oversized hole, and then fill it with thickened epoxy, and then re-drill the appropriate sized hole, and that is to protect the core material in the deck. I'm going to do a couple off camera to figure out what I'm doing, and then I'll do a couple more on camera. Well, that was not nearly as frightening as I expected it to be. So drilled through the top skin, you saw the wood kind of bust out of there. It's dry wood, but it's definitely in bad shape. I'm not overly concerned about it. I probably should be though. And then I left the inner skin intact, so I'll put a little tape on the inside and fill these all with thickened epoxy, and then re-drill tomorrow when it's all cured. I'm going to drill the rest of those off camera because I would like to listen to music. So I've decided last minute to make a backing plate rather, for the chain plate eye bolts. The current situation is they're holding simply with just a washer, and that's not much area for that much pressure that the sails exert on that. So I'm going to make some fiberglass backing blocks to kind of spread the weight and the force of those. Besides, I need a little extra time to clean up the chain plate eye bolts. Let them soak in some WD-40 maybe. I don't know what the best option is for that, but that's what I'm going to try. So we're going to build some backing blocks. This is where the hole was. It was about, what is that, 3 inches in diameter. I have filled it, I think you saw, with just a little fiberglass round and then loads of thickened epoxy. It's probably the most expensive way to do that, but it is rock solid. So we're going to peel the peel ply off. Looks nice. Now we're going to sand it back a little bit and lay up some fiberglass. Remember, I don't know what I'm doing, but here's what I'm doing. I'm going to cut several rounds of fiberglass. This is woven roving, and I'm going to get one that's 6 inches in diameter, which is the size of that exposed area of fiberglass. And then I'm going to do another 4-inch, 3-inch, and then maybe a 2-inch or something like that, and then lay those up, and I'll show that to you. But man, do I wish I'd paid attention in kindergarten now, because I cannot cut a circle to save my life. There is some discussion in the fiberglass boat world about whether to use the big round first or the small round first. Now, I remember being satisfied with someone's explanation for using the big one first, so that's what I'm going to do. But again, I really don't know what I'm doing. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on whether or not to do the big rounds first or the small rounds first, because every hole has 2 sides, and I've got the exact same hole right here. Maybe just for giggles, I'll try and do the opposite of what I did on the outside hole. Anyway, that's that repair. The rest of the day is going to be fitting the deck hardware, the cleats and the chain plate eye bolts. I've got some friends coming to help with that. Probably won't film that, but there you go. Thanks. I'm going to replace the scupper drains now. I've already done the first one, and I'll show you the second one. Now's probably a good time to show you the other end of that. I have some good news. I found a moisture meter. Let's see what it says. right, that's the end of our time in the shop. I got just about everything done that I wanted to, with the exception of dropping the keel. So if there's anybody in the Denver area that can lift the boat and drop the keel, let me know in the comments. I'm going to clean up around here and then get the boat back to the farm.